Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted. You've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head. I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test. I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby, you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nose, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing.
Let's dance!
And my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like
You gotta de-stress.
Sitting there,
Come on in, everybody.
confusing. Was it me? Is it
Welcome to
me?
your
Am I
Dana today.
I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion.
You're at the
Even
right
though I
channel.
offer all of the solutions. I wish you
It's
loved me like I
time to
love you,
de-stress.
it's stupid.
That's what
When
come
I'm
on in.
alone with you, I never feel lucid.
There's an account
I wish I
down.
wasn't struck by Cupid.
Hey, Shelly Marie.
I wish when I
Let's
first saw
come
you,
on
I
in.
knew this. When I'm with you, I feel so useless. I feel diluted.
See, I don't care if all
My
the
heart's
stupid-
been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you, I don't ever feel calm.
Old school.
I can feel the sweat inside my palm. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free.
Come on, everybody.
But if I lay down and I play
One more
dead
time.
and I stay dead, baby, you'll
Go
get
on in.
sick of being
Dear
the
Dana.
monster out of my head, under
About
my
anxiety.
bed, thinking something
Let's
out of
release
my
some.
nose, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me? Then will you get bored of killing me? Then will you get bored of killing me?
Okay. Welcome to Dear Dana. Just needed to de-stress some. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Better than a countdown. Surely needed to de-stress today. Talking about some anxiety. I am not one that has to deal with no anxiety. Trust and believe. It comes to my house too. Hello, Gourmet Thursday, Shelly Marie and Marie Crumb. And today was a hallelujah anxiety in my house day. Between having conversations with my mom and Eden was roughhousing with the dog, and the dog hit her face too hard and chipped a tooth and moved a tooth, and she had perfect teeth. Now she's having nerve pain, and she was so upset because she had perfect teeth. So you can imagine. And one is hurting. So it was a stress kind of day in my house, which brings about anxiety. So I know that no one in the world that is a human being has gone without anxiety. Hallelujah, right? And hello in the bushes. We have all dealt with some form of anxiety for one thing or the other. And yes, my background is as a psychotherapist, but when I was very young, and I have conquered it now, doesn't mean I don't ever have anxiety, but when I was very young, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I have conquered it now. But when you don't know what in your life has brought it about, it can take over your life. And like I said, psychotherapists have to go to therapy so they don't project their stuff on other people. So when I was very young, I sure did deal with generalized anxiety disorder. I was a ball of anxiety about everything because I was a perfectionist. I was worried about getting everything right all the time. All the time. Worried about things going wrong, getting things right. If I miss work, I was paranoid about missing work. Sure was. Even if they didn't want you to have a doctor's order, I thought I had to have one period to prove why I was out. You get what I'm saying. I've got hair in my face. So, even I've been talking all this time and nobody can hear me. Let's add to the anxiety. Let's just add to it. I was saying about the music. Music is a good anxiety relief. It's better than the countdown, in my opinion. I don't know what your opinion is. But I was saying the topic is anxiety and coping. And this was a perfect example of an anxiety filled day. Sorry to those that have been listening, watching me run my southern mouth with no words. I wish I had noticed earlier because when I did the volume and audio and video check, it showed fine. Good gracious. Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry to those in the bushes as well. But I said between dealing with my mom today, Lord have mercy, I thought it would be easier. Um, Me and my mom. Um, Sometimes it's good days, sometimes it's not so good days. I have one of those moms that is not the cozy, cuddly kind. You know what I mean? She happened to see, I hoped she would not, the TMZ thing. She happened to, I guess it cut itself off then. I'm going to have to get new headphones because it cut itself off. She happened to see me on TMZ when I prayed she would not. She was way not impressed. I got negativity from her. So there's that. And my daughter was playing with our puppy Cleo, who's big. And Cleo's face hit my daughter's mouth and chipped a tooth where my daughter can feel the nerves and moved a tooth. My daughter has had perfect teeth. So there's that. She was very upset. It hurt very bad. She's very upset about that. And then when I was trying to get my hair to finish drying, I knocked everything over in the bathroom. So boost the anxiety, Dana. Boost it. I'm not immune to anxiety. I'm not immune to it. And I don't know if you heard me tell you, I've got hair in my face, y'all. If you see me picking, that is what it is. I can't see it, but it's bugging me. Um, when I was very young, because of how I grew up, now I'm not saying my life was overly traumatic, or of course some traumatic things happened, but um, when I was very young, in my 20s, when I left, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I have since dealt with it. And like I said, as a psychotherapist, I'm going to check this volume thing. As a psychotherapist, you have to go to therapy so you don't project it on people that you see. So I've dealt with it. Doesn't mean I never have anxiety because I'm human, but I have dealt with the generalized anxiety part. Okay? Which means you're anxious 24/7. I'm not that way now. But there is not a human being. I cannot imagine there is a human being. Hey, I'm apologetically Romeo. I can't imagine there is a human being that does not have anxiety in their life. I can't imagine that. And hey, in the bushes, yo, yo, yo. So I think it's important to speak about it because that's okay. Things are getting cranked up in the world right now. They're getting cranked up again, and it's rough on all of us. So the anxiety is relevant. It's relevant. Are there any of you in the chat that do not deal with anxiety occasionally? Oh, honey, I'm sorry. PTSD when it comes to driving. People are cray on the highway. So I'm sorry you deal with that. People are cray cray on the highway anyway. Look, you need to get in the other lane. Let's say you're in the right lane. This is what I've noticed. Hey, Debbie Coakley, you're in the right lane. And let's say you realize you need to get in the left lane because maybe you need to get in the theater that's on the other side of the road. And you go, ooh, I need to get in the left lane because I'm going to need to turn in a minute. You put your blinker on. All of a sudden, the goofies behind you decide they need to speed up and they're not going to let you over. Have you noticed that? You put your blinker on and you need to pull over and get in the left lane, and all of a sudden the people are going to speed up and not let you go by. Have you noticed the psychology of that? Or is it just me? All of a sudden the people got to speed up and not let you by. Like there's a fire. Is it just me? I'm going to put my blinker on because I need to get in the left lane and I see there's time to get over there. But no, they're not going to let you do that. All of a sudden they're in a hurry and they're going to speed up and not let you get over. Is it just me? Mm-mm-mm. I notice it here. But I've gotten to where I do things like I'll put the blinker on and I'll start doing hand signals like, will you let me over? Will you let me over? Will you let me over? Right? And a lot of times they'll let me over. If I start doing sign language and hand signals, right, to people over to the side of me, right, if it's going a little slower, and they'll make a gap and let me over. I'll do things like that. Ramel says, when I tell you I didn't want to accept it or believe it, but it's not a joke, I hate driving. It sounds almost more like you have panic attacks, unapologetically, Ramel. It's not so much PTSD, it sounds like you have panic attacks. Those sound like panic attacks where your heart starts pounding, you break out in a sweat, you white knuckle it at the steering wheel, you almost feel like you're going to black out or pass out. Is that what you're talking about, unapologetically, Ramel? And just the thought of getting in the car or getting on the interstate just freaks you completely out and you just can't do it. And some people will completely stop driving, particularly on the interstate. Now, I got where I got like that, and it was vision induced. I can't imagine that that is completely understandable. And the fear builds up. And sometimes the fear and the anxiety are so heavily correlated that it can cause PTSD or panic attacks. Bless your sweetheart. And with a lot of therapy, that can be overcome, but sometimes it's a life choice. I no longer drive on the interstate, but my vision is such that it's not safe for me anymore because I cannot see. If I'm driving this way, my vision on my right side has become a pinhole. So I can't see anything to the right of me, and I can't see any traffic to my right or coming out in front of me. So if it were to go in front of me, I jump. So I can drive locally with what I'm familiar with in areas I'm familiar with. But if you take me out of areas I'm not familiar with, it's a little bit tricky or dangerous. So I'm trying to keep my independence. But, I mean, nothing to be ashamed of, Ramel. Nothing to be ashamed of. Let me go ahead and throw my intro down real quick before I forget, because you know how that goes. I might forget, and that's not hard for me. And there will be people coming later, especially on the replay crew, because of this topic in particular. It's an important topic. And some people don't want people seeing that they're watching about anxiety. And that's understandable. You know, there's the initial kind of anxiety. You know, the anxiety about asking somebody on a date, the anxiety about going on a job interview, the anxiety about driving a car, the anxiety about going in tall grass, possibly getting bit by a snake. You know, all of the different anxieties that are what ifs. What if this happens? And they're often fear based, right? We have a lot of fear based anxieties. If it weren't for my vision, I might go on the interstate if it was a short distance. But it bothers me to be, if traffic were going slow on the interstate, it might not bother me. It's when they're going 80, 90 miles an hour and switching lanes and doing all that stuff. It's so unpredictable. You never know what the other drivers are going to do. It makes it tricky. Unapologetic Ramel says, I never dealt with it, but I had people use it and lie about it. And I know people in the world deal with it, so I sometimes question if people really have it. If they really have what, Ramel? Anxiety? Or what? I'm not sure exactly what the it that you question is. Now, my mom had panic attacks severely. And she didn't drive for about 10 years. And then she had a friend that coaxed her into driving very short distances. And she went and found a psychiatrist that helped her and put her on an antidepressant and an anti-anxiety medicine that helped her a lot. And she finally started driving again. Now she'll drive on a local short interstate. She won't drive on a big interstate. But she started driving again and got her freedom back. Ramel, it depends on what it is, but in general, every human being will deal with some form of anxiety over certain situations. They'll deal with it over certain situations. I mean, there's five main types of anxiety. There's, regular anxiety over circumstantial things, like anxiety over you've planned a party or a wedding and you hope it goes well, right? Or you're about to go on a date. There's generalized anxiety. Um, it's characterized by chronic anxiety or worrying or tension over things that are going on or even things that are not going on. There's obsessive compulsive disorder. And it's characterized by reoccurring unwanted thoughts or wondering about, is the door locked? Or did you cut this off? Or is everything in order, right? Repetitive behaviors. Hand washing, counting, checking things, cleaning things. Wanting to make thoughts go away. Certain rituals, right? Then there's the panic disorder I talked about. And it's an anxiety disorder, and it's characterized by unexpected, repeated episodes, and it's that intense fear that feels like you're having a heart attack sometimes, or you sweat, feel like you're going to pass out, heart palpitations, shortness of breath, dizziness. You can have nausea, vomiting, abdominal pains. You want to shut down. And you can have the post traumatic stress. Why is she calling every time I have these? Post traumatic stress disorder. And it usually occurs after really traumatic events. People that go to war, people that experience something very traumatic in their life, like a death, human disaster, something violent. And then there's, social phobias or social anxiety disorders, social anxieties, worrying about going to parties, being around too many people. Um, when you're very self-conscious, you don't know how to react in social situations, things like that. Oh, you think it's you have fear of the unknown. That's good. You do think it's important for you to learn in case you marry someone who has anxiety. Um, what part of it is important for you to learn, Ramel? I'm not quite sure. You, if you've had anxiety, you'll be able to sense it when they do. It's that anxiousness, that not being able to unravel themselves. They'll sweat or they'll breathe a little faster. It's that tenseness. You know what I mean? A lot of what helps, if it's basic stuff, it can be overcoming that fear. And it may take many trial and error, keeping on trying again, even if it takes baby steps, right? Let's say there's people that are anxious to leave their house. I have a student, 14 years old, had not left her house the entire time COVID was going on. And I was working with her online, and I think I told you about her. And she finally left her home. And she and her mom left her home. They started with the walk down the sidewalk. And they did the breathing exercises and they did the grounding, right? Going barefoot on the ground without their phone to get the EMFs out of their body, did the conscious breathing, and they just walked down the road to a little store. I think they got an ice cream. And then that was like huge, right? She didn't even want to go on the porch outside. And then the next thing they did was they went to the local park. And they went to a corner of the park where there weren't a lot of people around, because you have to keep in mind this kid, a lady, they live in California, a lady had grabbed the kid and tried to haul her off and said that she was her daughter. She grabbed her and was trying to take her away and say that she was her daughter. She's not her daughter. And her mom had to grab her and run through alleys and go to someone's house, knock on the door, go to someone's house, ask if they could go inside to hide from this woman and call the police to try to get away from her, because the woman was trying to kidnap my student. Talk about trauma. So, besides COVID, one of the reasons she was afraid to leave her house is because she was afraid someone else was going to try to take her. So she had a lot of trauma. So the kid had not stepped foot out of her home. And I'm not saying it's because of me. Again, like I said, I'm a conduit. I am a therapist. I am a helper. So since we've been working together, thank God she trusts me, she stepped out of her home with her mom. They've gone down the sidewalk, get an ice cream. Then they went to a park, to a corner where there were no people. Yeah. Now they've gone to a park where there's ducks and water and people. Now they've gone to a beach with a friend of hers, and she met a boy that she's been talking to online, met the boy in person. This girl was scared to talk to anybody. She was afraid to speak to him in person, met him, enjoyed time with him, and went to some little fun, I think it had rides and stuff. Now she's making plans to go to a museum with him, and they talk all the time. She had fun. She's going to a museum with him, the kind where they cut humans. It's a biology museum. They cut humans, they slice them to look at what different things look like medically. He's a nerd. She's a nerd in the best possible way, but it's cute. And I call him Mr. Sparkles. Let me tell you about it. I could not be more proud of this girl. And she was wanting to, when she first started talking to me, I kid you not, she'd come in here and say, "Yes, thank you. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry about everything." Now, she's still finding herself, but she comes in here like this, head up, talks to me straight away, and looks at me, okay? And one day I asked her about, finding herself, and got her to part her hair on her side because she was self conscious. And look, she looked adorable. And I told her, I said, "You are intelligent and you're beautiful." And I said, "I'm not going to tell you something I don't mean." So now look, she's coming into herself. It gives my heart burst open. My heart just burst completely open. I created this to be a communication class for teenagers. These kids are coming in there with anxiety, no self confidence. The universe had a whole nother idea. Let's put it that way. But my heart is just exploding. Oh, thank you, Romeo. Look, I'm not even charging much in there because it was supposed to be a communication class. The platform gets a third of what I make, but my heart is exploding. That makes a huge difference to me. My mom can't understand that. She said, when I say I want to make a difference, that it means a lot to me to help people. My mom said that's bragging on myself. I went, what? What? I don't understand that. No, what did she say? Did she say it was, I think she said that that is bragging on myself when I say I want to help people. That my brain doesn't make sense, compute that. If that if that is, I'm sorry that I want to help people is bragging on myself. I don't. My brain still doesn't make sense of that. So okay, okay. But anyway, it my heart just explodes. It makes it. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. But I want to know how many of you are still dealing. Thank you, Shelley. I want to help people. It makes me feel good. It makes my heart explode. I want to make a difference. So I don't care. I'm not sorry. I can't be sorry about that. And Shelley, you need to make an appointment with me if you still want to, make some time together. I learned in therapy to let people have their own opinion and thoughts about you because if you get worked up about it, it can drain you. That is so true. That is so very true. Do y'all like the music at the beginning or no? I picked a few songs, but I tend to like, YouTube only gives you certain free songs that are YouTube friendly, and that was one of the groups. Some of them sound yucky. Sorry, some of them sound yucky, and I just couldn't do it. So if you ever hear them and you don't like them, let me know. Thank you, Debbie Coakley. And look, I know some of you asked for any of the first TMZ live was different. They are replaying it and they edited it. So all I can do is put the edited version under this video if you want to see it. It's a blip. All I can do is put the edited version under here. It's just a blip. It's no big deal. You can look at it. It's just a blip. The live version, I don't have. But anyway, I digress. I want to know Romel, you told me what kind of anxiety do you guys deal with? Now, my last alternative is sometimes anxiety is inherited. Sometimes you will find it in every family member because it seems to be inherited. You will have a lot of high strung people in your family. And you'll see a lot of people in the family that have anxiety, or it may be because of the dynamics in the family, things that have occurred in the family that just created that situation. The last thing I would do is get medicated for it. But if you have to, you have to. Things that you can do to control it are, first of all, if it's fear based, begin to try to face the fear first. Like if it's, oh, I'm afraid to go out with the person, face the fear and go out with the person. If it's because an event's coming up, you know that will fade away, right? So deal with the event. If it's because you played hooky and you're afraid you're going to get caught, well, you're going to have to deal with that anyway. We know there are circumstantial situations where we're going to have to deal with it, or we need to deal with it. We need to deal with the fear. If it is something that we feel like it's because it's dealing with the past or it's triggered by something, we need to look for the trigger. Sometimes it is something internal that we have not dug into within ourselves. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm laying down? But then there are anxieties that are much bigger than that are caused by big events in our life, are caused by Debbie Coakley. They have people coming on making comments all the time, right? We see it on there all the time. It's not that big a deal, but I appreciate it. It's not that big a deal. It's not like I'm a superstar. It did get me some subscribers though. That helps. Who in here, we know Ramel has some issues with it. Who has had anxiety mess with their life, or it's messing with their life now? You know what I mean? Some people, anxiety is really hindering their life. You get what I'm saying? I'm back. My phone is acting crazy. I know that's right. Mine does that sometime. I get those stupid things that pop up on my phone, like ads that get in my way, that keep me from looking at things on my phone. Gets on my last nerve. Tech problems. See, I'm just not that techy. I'm just not that fancy. I don't know everything about what's going on in these phones. That's what happens when you're not a teenager and you just don't know. Next thing we know, they're going to have something new and fancier and then still won't know what's going on. One day we'll have phones on our arms, right? We won't need the phone itself. There'll be a chip or something. I hate it when anxiety gets in our way of really doing something big in our life. Let's say we want to do something out of our circle or out of our square, right? That kept us from doing something big, like a dream or a wish. That's what's irritating. If it kept you from doing something bigger that you dreamed of in your life, that would be irritating. You shouldn't let it stop you from doing something bigger in your life, something you dream about doing bigger in your life. I don't care what age you are, even. Look at me. Who would have thought at my advanced stage I'd be a 2B, right? I'd be a 2B. Come on now. Come on now. I'd be up here just throwing it out there. Oh, thank you, Debbie Coakley. Subata. Trying to be on here. Yeah, superstar. Remember that? I don't even know what her name is. She used to go out there and say, superstar. So sad about Olivia Newton-John, though, by the way. Makes me so sad that she has left this world. She is one singer and actress that has always made an imprint, a loving, shining light of an imprint. And she opened that hospital, a healing, loving retreat, Gaia, for people that are, especially women that are dealing with cancer. So when they go in there, they can have meditation and healing and different things like that. And of course, they do healing marijuana, but the hospital rooms don't look like hospital rooms. Uh, no chip for me. Sorry, not sorry. What is that? No chip. I don't get that, Debbie Coakley. No chip. But anyway, very sorry to hear about her. And throwing in that Anne, what is it? Anne Hirsch? Anne Hirsch? The actress that ran into that people's house? Good gosh. Talk about anxiety. She is on life support, going 70, running into that house and catch it on fire. I have a habit of getting in my own head and it gets in my way sometimes. Don't we all? Don't we all get in our own head and spin around with it and have a whole conversation about why or why not we can or cannot do certain things? Being in the moment is the other thing that helps with anxiety. If you get too much in the past, we dwell on it. We run it around, we replay it, and we can't change anything about the past. If we go in the future, we can run it, rewind it, replay it, try to lay it out. But it's not here yet, right? Being right here in this moment is when we're really living. When we noticed everything, when we're consciously breathing, when we're touching everything, touching what we have now, right? When we're seeing the colors, when you think one thought can help you control your anxiety. Because everybody thinks we can think a million things at one time. No, we can't. It feels like it. It definitely feels like it. But you really cannot think but about one thing at a time. One thing at a time. So if you really focus on an image, a peaceful image, something soothing, which I am still going to do that meditation. I'm going to try to work on it tomorrow. Something peaceful or a word that doesn't have a lot of angsty tension attached to it, and you breathe, it can bring all of that anxiety down. It can bring all of that anxiety down. Especially that conscious breathing, your best friend. It is your best friend. Doing that conscious breathing can bring your anxiety right down. 4, 4, 4. Hold it. Conscious breathing can bring it right down. Brings your blood pressure down, brings your heart rate down, calms your whole body down. And you focus on that one non-threatening thing. It could be your pet, your baby, a rainbow, a place you've been, the beach. Can bring all of your anxiety down. And there's plenty of things on YouTube, sounds that soothe. All of those things are super, super helpful. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do the chip either. Virginia Woolf says, I imagine things playing out sometimes and it gives me anxiety, like some future narrative, so to stop it I block the thoughts out. Always helpful, because you also can't control what's in the future that hasn't happened yet. Debbie says, I get triggers that can take me back to the past. Yeah. So if we come straight back to the now and focus on what is in front of you, and then take you to what's soothing, and do the conscious breathing, or go watch a cat video if you like cats. Go watch a dog video. I watched the Asher House where he has a sanctuary with dogs. Take to something that brings you back calm. And again, conscious breathing is your best friend. It is your best friend. When you're in that place of anxiety, if anxiety hits you in bed, sometimes it does people like that. It's about redirection, mind over matter. Take yourself into a piece of music that switches your brain waves. It takes practice, but you can redirect your brain. Music, conscious breathing, visuals. You can redirect your brain. Of course, sometimes you need medication or therapy. Look, hypnosis is wonderful. And those are one of the things that I do for people too. But hypnosis is wonderful. We can reprogram our brains. It just takes habit and practice. If you can put yourself in that mindset of angst, you can work on taking yourself out. It takes practice though. And it's about making your brain look at different things, right? Debbie Coakley says, doot, doot, doot. Yes, it's amazing. I couldn't have made it through the past year without it. I can never thank you enough for that, along with the grounding. Oh, you are most welcome, but you're the one utilizing it. You see what I'm saying? I can show you the tools, but if you're the one that's doing it and it's helping you, you're the one that's doing the work. But sometimes the simplest things can be our best buddies. And look, I'm telling you, these are really simple things, but selenite running over your body, you can literally feel it. I can move this over my body, and I'm not touching myself, and I'm doing the breathing, and I can feel it. And like when Eden's mouth was in pain, I was telling her, the more you're upset and the more you're angsty, the pain is going to go up. And it does, because your heart rate goes up, anxiety goes up, the pain shoots up. So I was reminding her to do the conscious breathing and breathe it out. So her blood pressure would go down, her anxiety would go down. It would help some of the pain to go down. So, I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's not. So much is your mind trying to control things, right? And spiritually, everything trying to ease. And then that way you kind of can navigate how much of it is actually pain and anxiety that has to be treated. So then Western medicine kicks in. And that's why I say there's room for spiritual, mind, body, Western. Debbie says, oop. Best friend ever, absolutely. I had to do it several times tonight. It really works. Conscious breathing, yes. And then, look, if you take conscious breathing and you visualize the big fat star, right, with that warm light leaking from the star like water through your body, picking up negativity, toxins, everything that doesn't belong rolling through your body, right? Down through your feet, down through the earth. Then it's a whole nother level. Whole nother level. So, tomorrow, I was kind of wanting to do it pre recorded if I can, because I would like for you not to have to look at this face while I'm doing a guided meditation. Because I want everyone just to focus on what they hear during a guided meditation. Because I want you to be able to go within. Because I sort of do my guided meditations with a hint of spiritual, maybe a little hypnotic mixed in. It's not a full blown, just a guided, it's not a full blown hypnotic, but you get what I'm saying. So I was trying not to do it live. It may end up that way because I'm just piddling with learning how to do uploads, but I want to try to have it done tomorrow for you all. So be looking for it, okay? Put your bell on. So I'm hoping to help you all on a deeper level. And those in the bushes, if you're interested, hit that bell, hit that like. And for all of you that are just watching, if you're interested, make sure you're subscribed because I'm going to be doing more things. And I may be offering a hypnosis soon, but it will not be done live on the channel because I have to be careful, okay? But anyway, I want to get this done hopefully by tomorrow. And it'll be really helpful. But anyway, that's the plan. Saturday, we're going to have a special guest. Miss Candy Washington will be joining us. Yes, she will. I'm so happy. I don't know how many of you know Miss Candy Washington, but it's a great honor to have her on here. She's beautiful, intelligent, and very lovely. So she will be on here. Good. It makes a difference when you can feel that healing, warm, golden light from the star moving down through your body as you do the conscious breathing. Very healing. That is my plan. But insofar as anxiety, I like it when people start trying to focus on your triggers. What's the root cause? Is it just something you're fearful of that is going to occur in the near future? That is passing soon? You know, just something you're afraid to do? Is it jumping out of a plane? Is it dating? Is it an activity that's coming soon? Is it something that you want to do, you're afraid to do? Is it chronic because it's a trigger from the past, right? It's about looking at where is your anxiety coming from, right? That's how you decide how you're going to deal with it and what road to take because you can overcome it. But if it's something very deep seated, it may take longer. Does it mean you're never going to have anxiety again? No. Every human being is going to deal with it from time to time. Panic attacks and PTSD is a little harder, but you can overcome them. You can. It just often takes therapy and work. They're just more difficult because they are usually trauma induced or things that have occurred in your life. Yeah. And I'm not opposed to having to take medication. I just feel like it should be combined with other therapeutic measures. And exercise, music, right? Tapping is another modality that can be used. Hey, James Money, that I will talk about in the near future. Tapping. You can say things about what you're fearful of and do tapping. It's another modality we'll talk about here in the near future. How are you doing, James Money? We've been talking about anxiety that everybody deals with in different ways, some more serious than others. Because everybody's dealt with it, for sure, some more serious than others. Have you dealt with it, James? But there are ways that, we want to deal with it more organically when we can to start with. But it's about facing where the anxiety is coming from. Facing your fears first. Fa. Facing your fears first. And trying to do organically as best you can to start with. And then adding Western medicine as you go if you have to. Has anybody got any questions? Trying not to keep these lives so long as not to make you feel kidnapped on my channel. Anybody have any questions? We talked about how some of these can develop into other conditions like OCD, PTSD, generalized anxiety disorder, things such as that. It's wild to me how even just a memory that can surface can start to trigger anxiety, complexity in the human mind. Yes, absolutely, because you can get lost in your thoughts and your memories in your mind and make things just as real as it happened yesterday. You absolutely can. You can get lost in a whole memory, a whole thought, a whole yesterday. And those emotions can all flood back just like it's occurring right now. There's still so much about the brain that we don't know, that we don't even know yet. Ugh. And science is trying to get ahead of itself, and they're trying to use AIs to mimic the human brain. It's getting scary out there. It's getting scary. We don't even know ourselves that well yet. We're still trying to figure out ourselves. Isn't that a mess? We are ourselves, and we're still trying to figure out ourselves. We don't even know ourselves that well. No, they don't. And this is a subject we can even keep delving in. This, depression, I mean, you name it. We can delve deep and far into the brain. Deep, far, and wide. I mean, look how it works, right? How far back memories go. And even, did you know that memories can be trapped in genes? Our genetic memories can be trapped in genes, they say. That's wild. So they're saying, like, if you donate your organs to somebody else, for instance, that explains sometimes why they might inherit some of your taste for things, right? Some of your likes and dislikes. You hear about that sometimes when somebody donated some of their organs. All of a sudden, that person that got that organ might inherit some of your likes and dislikes. Debbie Coakley says a pandemic. I got dry mouth or something. My medications do it. I'm not stoned, by the way. The pandemic made me feel a certain way. I have drove 1,000 miles each way this year twice in 3 months. I have to credit you for my courage. Girl, I think you give me too much credit. But I appreciate it. You're so very sweet. But sometimes I think you give me too much credit. But that is very, very kind. Thank you. Pandemic made me feel a certain way too, because when it was first going on and we were losing so many people, I was just like, whoa. But I think a lot of it was because I'd already lost a child. And we were already losing so many people. And I was like, and I had already taught children in China and saw what was going on there. And I never thought of it coming here. It didn't cross my mind for whatever reason, stupidity, that it was going to end up in the United States. And when it did, I think I was like, whoa, what? And it was just spreading wildly. It is so great, Debbie. I mean, that's amazing that you did that. I couldn't drive 1,000 miles each way twice a year. You did something I can't do. So I'm super proud of you. Super, super proud of you. See, even I can't do that. I mean, that's amazeballs. Somebody would have to drive me, or I would have to get in a plane. Ugh. My mom keeps calling me, y'all. Lord have mercy on my soul. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's an emergency. I don't know. But on that note, I guess I better. Oops, what did I drop? A wooden stick. On that note, I guess I better wrap up and cut this short. Um, if you end up having any questions or messages, you can drop it in the comments below. We need to have more questions and answers and conversations about the brain and what the brain does and what we go through, right? We need to have more questions like this. Questions. Questions. We need to have more conversations like this about what people really go through and what's going on with ourselves. There's no shame in the game. We're human beings. We need to figure out how we work, right? They don't teach this in school unless you become a psychotherapist. They don't teach us more about ourselves. They don't. They teach basic biology, how you work, how you make babies. Yeah? But thank you so much. You are so precious. Seriously, anything you want to talk about, just tell me. Just tell me. We are a community. It's an open conversation. Let's learn about ourselves, right? But on that note, I guess I better wrap up. there might be an emergency. I would feel terrible. I love you all. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps support this channel, and it's a free thing to do. It's free. Free, 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 free. Free, 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 free. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And like I said, I'll put that little TMZ thing under here later. Aw. And if you have any questions, if you need any, want to make any suggestions, whatever, you can email me at dcstinson5@gmail. dcstinson5@gmail or deardana1111@gmail.com. But put your comments below. I will answer you. I promise. And like and subscribe. Invite a friend. Invite a friend. Let's grow the community. Invite a friend. They might need to hear something. They might be lonely. They might need to hear something. Might need help. Might need community. And still send prayers to Sheila Steve. Okay? Thank you all for being here. I will send you Wednesday. I'll send you Wednesday. Lord have mercy. I will see you Wednesday. And we will have our guest, all goes well, Candy Washington. Take it easy. Mwah. And here we go. Bum, 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 bum. Well, where are we, Dana? I can't find us. Yep, it's been a stressful day. Lord have mercy. See, I'm human. It happens. Thank you all.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain.